Let's Talk Marketplace.
The Marketplace podcast with Ingrid and Valerie Dichtel.
Hello and welcome again. It's Let's Talk Marketplace time. Another episode fully in English, and today with our partner Allegro, the most important and biggest marketplace in Poland. Guess it's also one of those episodes that are not only in English but quite international as well, because I'm at the moment sitting in Germany and our guest comes in from Poland. And Valerie, where are you again? I sort of lost count.
Well, yeah, that's quite a good question. I am in Koh Phangan in Thailand. I finished this week a workation on the island. So what is a workation? It's defined by work and vacation, summarized in workation. And there I met, for the last 10 days, 40 German-speaking online entrepreneurs, and we did workshops together, connected us on different levels, and also had a lot of fun together. And so last week I was in a catamaran, and then I went so many different workshops and got new input. Also for my overall business. So that was quite inspiring and motivating, and I'm still here for a few days.
And there were lots of coconuts involved as well in all that inspiration.
That's true. I had a coconut flat rate.
Now that's a bonus that I would
That's
be interested
a real
in.
big bonus. Yeah, no, it was really, really, really amazing and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And so I come back with lots of new ideas, also for our story together with Ingrid.
Mm-hmm.
And but what was going about with you, Ingrid?
Not as much as I hoped, to be honest, because I've been hit by a quite persistent cold last week, which you might still hear from my voice. So apologies for sounding like that. No drugs and cigarettes were involved in making this podcast, Scout's honor. It's just me being in Germany where things are cold, no coconuts around for your immune system. Anyway, this is because I'm now quite behind my own schedule, which really sucks because there's so much to do, especially regarding everything that is going on between the two of us at the moment. So I guess our big announcement has to wait a little longer. But maybe that's not so bad after all. This is carnival season all over Germany this week. And already I've been getting nothing but OOO messages from all the contacts placed in Western Germany. They're all off to the carnival. So no one's going to be reading it anyway.
Yeah, so true. So no carnival for you, Ingrid, just tea and broth.
Yeah, great. Which is just as well because I'm the world's biggest Faschingsmuffel ever, even when I'm healthy, meaning I don't like carnival at all. Right. So anyway, when are you
Who could have guessed that?
Yeah.
Very surprising.
I'm quite a party animal, but I just, no carnival is not for me. Anyway, when are you getting home? Will you be in Germany in time for e-commerce expo in Berlin? Because that's I think it's next week, is it?
Yes.
No, in 2 weeks, next week.
I'm going back home this week, so I will be ready for next week Berlin Expo. And you can also see where we are this year on marketplace events on our European Marketplace events calendar from Let's Talk Marketplace.
Smooth.
You can still download it. Yeah. I will be actually a lot of events. There is the ROM event on Wednesday evening, and then the Berlin Expo, and then there's another event I'm invited to, and then I'm leading a workshop afterwards. So really, really packed 2 full days in Berlin, I would say. Yeah,
Cool. Right.
But
Okay. Right.
But, where can we see you, Ingrid?
Not in Berlin, but the next time, I think the next event that I'm going to is the Miracle Platform Summit, which is in April. Anyway, you can look all that up on our events calendar if you haven't already. Download it now and don't miss out. Anyway, now I think it's high time to welcome today's guest, isn't it? Because as promised in our last episode, Mateusz is with us today. I'm not even trying to pronounce his last name today. And he's Group Director, International Sellers and Fulfilment Sales at Allegro. Welcome, Mateusz.
Hi, hello. Yeah, Mateusz Długokęcki. That would be the surname.
Thank you.
But we can say Mateusz for today. Super nice to be here. Thank you for inviting us.
Right, great you're here.
Happy to welcome Happy to welcome you, Mateusz. We will write down your surname on the show notes so everyone can look up to you on LinkedIn and stuff. But what we every time do when we have a guest, we are asking you a few questions, and the purpose is to quickly respond to it and answer it in form like a school friendship book. So, Mateusz, how many years of experience do you have in the marketplace business?
2 years of experience in marketplace business.
Okay. And how did you learn it?
Learn it by doing it. I joined Allegro 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, and I'm coming from FMCG background, working with Procter & Gamble for 9 years to the day.
Okay.
So, what would you say is your USP focus topic in the marketplace business?
USP.
What you're really good at.
Me personally. Okay. So my favorite topic is probably selling the marketplace to the merchant. I'm a sales guy to the bone. So that's my strong suit, I would say.
Great. And how large is your sales team then?
So in total, our team responsible for international sellers and fulfillment is 30 people in terms of product and sales operations and marketing.
And what would you say is your most successful marketplace category at Allegro?
Most successful? Oh, it's really hard with Allegro, as we have all categories. You can buy a house on Allegro if you want. You can buy electronics, home and garden. Those are probably typically the workhorses of each and every open 3P marketplace. I think what is super important overall about Allegro is that whatever merchants are bringing, we are helping them to suffice with the product. So right now, I would probably say electronics and home and garden. But who knows what the future will bring us in terms of what merchants will bring and what consumers are willing to buy at the fair price.
Okay. And what personally fascinates you about the marketplace business?
So I'm all about innovation of the setup of sales. So we historically had a retailer and a consumer, a pretty two-way relationship. Now we have to work in a relationship when there is a marketplace, when there is a merchant, and there is a consumer as well. So this creates a unique situation to both work together, but also to streamline a lot of operations. So I believe our part as marketplace is to be, for a merchant, a robust infrastructure to sell and to get to the consumer as swiftly as possible.
Okay. Okay, and last question. Can you share a fun fact about you? It can be or should be something personal.
Okay, so fun fact about me, by trade and by education, I'm an archaeologist, Egyptologist to be precise. And as a teenager, I had the pleasure to work on the archaeological mission that found Copernicus in Frombork in Poland.
That is so cool. Really, honestly, I'm an historian. I studied history, so Valerie already knows about my freaking out over everything that is archaeology and history, and I think she is a bit bemused by that. But I'm totally into that stuff, so I could just stop talking about marketplaces now and just start talking with you about archaeology. But I think Valerie wouldn't be happy about that.
I would need to skip that topic, definitely.
Right. Okay.
Valerie, we're not going to exclude you today. So today, probably less archaeology, more marketplaces.
We
Sounds
do that.
good.
Yeah, we do that at a different time then. Right. Thank you, Mateusz. So now we know a bit more about you, and then we can go over to our marketplace news for today. Newsflash. So, marketplace news this week. There was quite some interesting things happening, actually. Two of the biggest ones. The one I found, I think it wasn't an official thing that they talked about, but it seems that Zooplus, Europe's biggest online retailer for pet-related products, they seem to be working on their own marketplace. At least that's what current job offers suggest. So there's a director called Stephen Lord. He started last year at Zooplus as director marketplace and seller management, and he is at the moment looking for a technical onboarding manager marketplace for his team, and he's asking applicants in LinkedIn whether they would be interested in building a brand new marketplace. So, yeah, interesting. I love job ads, really, because there's always such a great source for information on what a company is working on at the moment without telling. So, what do you think about Zooplus doing a marketplace? Valerie,
Yeah,
maybe.
really, you are really sneaky, Ingrid, but very good.
Well,
That's the reason why you're a journalist.
I'm not looking up anything that is hidden. It's a plain
I
open
know.
site
You're just
job.
like putting the
Ads.
dots together.
Yeah, but and that's a nice
well,
one.
yeah, I think quite interesting. And I actually, especially in the last few weeks, I got like several requests for pet food and
Me too.
marketplaces, and I was
Yeah.
always like, Valerie, whom can you suggest as a marketplace for pet food? And I was like, yeah, well, Amazon,
Yeah,
maybe
Fressnapf in
Allegro,
Germany.
maybe, I don't know, yeah, Fressnapf, but yeah, that's it, right? So quite interesting, as Soplus is really a big leader as well in Germany. So I'm excited to see when like the big announcement is coming that they open up.
Yeah, right. Mateusz, any thoughts on that?
Super interesting. I think pet food is overall pet is a great category, growing and globally something that is a huge thing. What I can say for Polish consumer that we are, I think, the 4th or 5th biggest pet owners in the world. So both cats, I have 2, and dogs are super popular. So I'm a consumer of the category myself, so I can talk a lot about the experience. But regarding opening a new marketplace, I think it's a great idea. I mean, more competition, the better. Growing e-commerce pie as a total is an awesome thing. And I think we as Allegro, even before I joined, or especially before I joined, we learned a lot from competition. And I think we continue. So looking forward to see what Zoplos we're going to figure out on this one.
Yeah, I'm quite interesting to see that as well. I did a bit of a deeper dive into the pet products area on LinkedIn, if you can look it up if you want to. And there I discovered that at the moment in the category on Amazon is really full. There's loads and loads and loads of sellers. So I guess there is need for a second big marketplace. Anyway, let's see how that turns out. Another news that I just found on LinkedIn, but I wanted to talk about a bit, is Kaufland, one of the biggest marketplaces in Germany, is starting out their own fulfillment. Just came in, Fulfilment by Kaufland. So that was something that I hadn't on my internal notebook, that they were working on something like that. Valerie, did you hear anything about that before?
No, not at all, to be very honest. Yeah, let's see how that will evolve. And it would be super interesting to get some arguments about it. Like, what's the reason why for it?
Yeah.
What would you guess?
I'm going to look a bit more deeper into this. I just read that like 10 minutes before we started recording, but interesting at least. Right. Another one of the discussions that I followed last week was about the brand Miele, a German kitchen application brand, very big one. And they retracted all of their vendor and official retailers' connection to Amazon, leaving the field wide open for resellers, of course. And this ignited the old discussion if big brands like Miele or a few years back, Nike, can afford to leave a big marketplace like Amazon or any other big marketplace, and what that will do to their brand. As we have a marketplace here, what is your stand on that idea, Mateusz?
So from my point of view, and especially when we talk with big brands similar to Miele, similar to Nike, the main conversation is what is the brand idea. And we personally believe that well-managed marketplace connection, is it through merchants or directly selling D2C, is one of the best ways to fastly reach the market. Definitely Miele had their reasons, but I think overall being available on marketplace is one of the things that consumers are after, especially if you build a strong brand with a strong marketplace. I think in this case, I would say that's a way forward, but I'm working for marketplace, so don't get my word for this one directly. But overall, I always think it's a question of expectations and the reason why you are on marketplace as a brand. So definitely, Miele had the reasons to do it. And the question is, will it work for them long term?
Yeah, we'll see.
It's probably their strategy. I see a lot of brands, especially in similar categories as Miele, being very successful with Allegro lately in launching D2C, even the first ever experiments globally. So I think the trend is it's always a balance. Some decide to leave, and some others decide it's time to join. It's time to change the trend.
Your thoughts on that, Valerie?
Well, I would always say that it's most important that the brand has the lead of the marketplace business and their own retail business. So I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, there should be reasons for it, but I wouldn't do that as a brand, like to say like, hey, all my resellers, happy that you share our content in whatever way
Yeah.
and sell our product. So I wouldn't do that, but yeah.
Definitely a topic that
Just
we
my
should
personal
come back
opinion.
to, I think, in one of our further episodes, because this is like a huge debate going on. Anyway, what else do I have? Amazon has started their marketplace in Brazil now as a full marketplace. Up to now, only digital goods were sold there on the website, but now it's the marketplace as we know it here, so open to physical goods as well. So new, interesting country maybe for all Amazonian sellers. And what else? Yeah, Fashionette, new marketplace, has started out last September, and from March they will be welcoming brand partners to the platform. So, Valerie, hey, new fashion marketplace. Are we happy?
Well, I don't know. It's like a new fashion marketplace where we already have like big fashion marketplaces.
Yeah, but you were
I
also whiny
don't
last year
know.
because they were dying like flies left and right. So a new one.
Yeah, but the old ones were specialized on some niches, and Fashionette is not specialized.
Okay,
So yeah,
interesting.
so I think they need to have a really good USP in order to connect as well there. I mean, you could like row Fashionette into marketplaces like Van Graaf or Engelhorn, or I would say like there are plenty of smaller ones, but they are often not so relevant. So I mean, we have like the big players already. So yeah, let's see. I mean,
Okay.
I'm always happy to get surprised, but yeah.
Okay, I see. Right. So, just very quickly to round my news flash up, some business figures for 2023 dropped over the last week. So, I guess we should do an in-depth analysis of those in another episode already. But for today, the most important figures, just so that you are well informed, my dear listeners. Amazon produced their very positive figures for the fourth quarter of 2023. Turnover grew by 13%. Biggest areas of growth, as we already know, was advertising and seller services. Another interesting figure came from AliExpress. They grew internationally by more than 60% in 23, but were struggling a bit in the home market China, which I found interesting. Some other nice figures came from Home24, marketplace business of furniture and home decor seller, and they grew their GMV, their marketplace GMV, to over 100 million euro. And speaking of nice surprises and things that we maybe didn't, hadn't considered here in the podcast, I also found some figures from MediaMarkt Saturn, and they have doubled their marketplace GMV in the fourth quarter of their business year 23-24 to now 81 million euro. So in one quarter. You remember, Valerie, how we joked about their plans, that they wanted to reach a GMV of 740 million by 2026. So they might yet get there, and we will have to eat our own
I
words.
don't know. I don't know.
Still
There's like still a
skeptical.
huge gap between 81 and 740 million.
Yeah, well,
but
81 per
let's
quarter,
see.
so it's not that
Yeah,
bad.
okay. Yeah, okay.
So let's see.
True.
Let's see. Okay, we are positive here, right? So that's that's today's news flash. Thanks for your opinions, and I think now it's high time to talk about Allegro and the Eastern European and Central European market and how we can address that with Allegro as a marketplace.
Topic of the week.
Right. Maybe first a few figures on the marketplace. Allegro started out in 1999. From my latest figures, you grew to a GMV of approximately 8 billion euro in the first 9 months in 2023. So year-on-year growth of 13% in the same period, which is something that most German market experts will look at with envy because we haven't seen these numbers for the last 2 years. So anyway, Allegro are outpacing the market, and I think around about 80% of users in Poland are shopping online with an all-over volume of 20 billion euro. And almost half of this turnover is generated on Allegro. So these are quite interesting figures, I guess. So at the moment, you are operating in 6 European countries and offering some 400 million offers to round about 19 million active buyers. Right. Have I missed anything, Mateusz?
A little bit of clarification on our presence. So as Allegro, so allegro.pl and allegro.cz, we are currently present in 2 marketplaces. And very, very soon in Q1, we're going to be present in Slovakia as well. So we're going to have 3 Allegro marketplaces.
Okay.
The other markets are covered by our group, and they are covered by CZC and mall.com and mall presence.
Okay.
So we are expanding, and our plan for the next months, next years, is to be present as Allegro in whole Central Europe, including Croatia, Hungary, and Slovenia in upcoming months.
Okay. But the Allegro marketplace itself is at the moment active in Poland and in Czech Republic, is it?
Exactly.
Okay. Right. So, as a company who has been active in this Polish market for the last 25 years, maybe give us your idea about how the Polish market, e-commerce market, has evolved in the recent years. Where is Poland at the moment, especially maybe compared to Western European e-commerce markets?
So we have an opportunity to talk a lot because we are part of European Union from 2003 to 2004.
Yes.
We have a lot of opportunity to conversate about how the infrastructure, how everything looks like in Eastern, Western, and Central Europe. I think the biggest difference is the starting point. So in Poland especially, we had an opportunity to build infrastructure together with the market of e-commerce growing. So I think the starkest difference is how consumer is receiving the packages. So I'm starting from the finish of the journey of the shopper and the consumer. Is 87% of Polish consumers are choosing the parcel machines to receive the packages. And currently we have 4 big providers of parcel machines in Poland, including Allegro. And I think that's the biggest, starkest difference. And it's coming not only as an output, so you can see those parcel machines everywhere, but it's at least 2 decades of a very intensive geological and map surveys, allowing us to very precisely map Polish, not only consumer, but where people live. And we very often forget about it. And my favorite example is we were in Brussels talking about logistics and last mile overall. And we had a question, so how you solve the issues like, for example, apartments in France not always have number, sometimes they have names. And for me, what was like, wait, what? It's impossible to have it in Poland. So we are very much formatted towards being efficient e-commerce infrastructure. And first mile, last mile, one of the biggest logistic hubs in Europe are located in Poland. And very high internet penetration, including very huge investments into fiber being put into the villages. So when you put this infrastructure and the fact that Polish people don't tend to save money, we spend everything. Our own currency is considered rather a weak one, but we are also after 60 years of not having stuff. And buying stuff right now is a hot topic for everybody. So number 1 on disposable income, and this is coming a little bit more from my past experience for Polish consumers in Central Europe overall, is clothing. So it's total consumption. And in terms of, for example, Germany, it's saving money. So if German households have excess capital, they save it for the future. If Polish households have an excess capital, they're thinking about, okay, let's renovate kitchen. Let's put this dishwashing machine in. Let's buy this new headset to travel, to work in perfect silence of noise cancellation, etc., etc., etc.
Interesting, right?
Yeah, I also have the feeling that Polish market is overall ramping up, especially in e-commerce. And Yeah, I get many new requests also from Polish brands and like, hey, we want to evolve our marketplace business. So the way around, like from Polish country to other countries in Europe in marketplace business. But yeah, also the other way around, it makes the Polish market as well as Allegro quite interesting as a marketplace because you're the biggest one there, right?
Yeah, we are definitely number one. So in Q3, out of the numbers that Ingrid you quoted before, we are growing 19% on revenue in Poland and 30+% on the bottom line. So looking at this one, I think Poland is a great starting place, and we want to expand this vision into Czech, Slovakia, and going further, where marketplace is a little bit less penetrated concept. So in Poland, you have an advantage of joining 20 million plus consumers that are visiting Allegro each and every month, which is out of 38 million people overall, probably majority of the households, and 87% brand recognition. So this is a strong, I would say, gateway to Central Europe consumption. And we want to kind of copy paste this concept to other markets, of course, taking under consideration that, for example, cash on delivery is popular in Czechia, etc., etc.
Okay. As you said, the Polish people are heavy on spending instead of saving their money, are interested in picking up latest fashion, latest electronics and stuff. How open are they to sellers from outside Poland?
So overall, especially on Allegro, with the safety that we propose, consumers are pretty open to shop. Polish consumers, 75% of them, they are shopping on Polish platforms, but this is the great entry point to kind of get the recognition of the platform, ergo it being Allegro in our case, and then introduce your brand into the market. So consumer trust Allegro because we have a lot of trust and safety, fail-safe in place, including Allegro Protect. And the secondary, with the novelties and brands, this is the place to kind of start both marketing-wise and connection with the consumer.
Okay. Talking about that, the language barrier is certainly there for cross-border sellers because you should provide your product information in Polish and Polish customer service, is it?
So yeah, that's two things about this one. One misconception, you don't have to provide in Polish. We have to be ready for the fact that there will be Czech, and there are Czech merchants providing the content in Czech, and there are a lot of international merchants who are ready to expand. So usually they have content available in English. So this we can do very easily. Content provided in English on Allegro can be translated automatically to Polish, Czech, future in Slovak and Hungarian, all the languages. So these connections are already working, and that's the content, the offering, I would say. The customer service, it's a second part. First of all, we provide on-the-spot translation tools that merchant can use within the email, within the backend of our system. But it is important to understand more the Polish and Central European consumer rather than understanding the language itself that much.
Yeah.
Though we know it's a huge barrier, especially in Germany. We hear it a lot from our future potential merchants. I'm interested. It sounds great. But language is a barrier for me. Why? Because I want to provide the highest possible service quality rather than just, auto-translated stuff. We see merchants do not have a lot of trust to these tools yet. Hence, we are having 100+ people working on those tools in our AA department.
Okay, interesting. Okay. So there's stuff coming up then in sort of regarding tools for language.
Yeah, definitely. And we also have agencies that are working with us in our SPN list, so service provider network, that can, without waiting for the tools to come, localize you in Poland in a matter of probably weeks, depending on the size of your portfolio, and then provide you customer service as well. I think this is a big strength of overall Polish ingenuity and Central European ingenuity, that people create business around business. So we have a lot of agencies that are working on description creation, on the photo rendering and adjustment, on customer service, in all languages provided. So I think that's also a huge thing that a lot of merchants do not know about. Hence, we are here today to talk.
But coming first, I want to come back later to your service topics, like what services you offer, because that's quite interesting. But first of all, I would like to ask you, like who is like the sellers which are really, really successful on Allegro? Like,
Yeah.
if I'm a seller and I think about Allegro, what should I bring with me? Is there something where you say like, okay, we are like the best in the categories X, Y, Z, like have like a product price, like are you more for product entry products, for mid-sized products, for luxury products? Where would you rate yourself in, Mateusz? For whom are you?
Okay, yeah. So definitely, and this is my also personal belief that overall, over time, market is always and consumer is always moving to the cheapest way of distribution. So where you can see the most value from the time you spend. So it's both the price, the experience, and the safety, but also how much time you spend on the shopping. And this is where I think we are great. So this will be replenishment shopping, buying more expensive, I would say close to luxurious electronic stuff. So I think this is the strong point of us. So a lot of resellers, and I think one of the big branded product provider coming from Germany is Electronic Star, very successful merchant of ours on Allegro, present in here for a few years already, with a lot of successes. But we see a lot of, I would say, mid to up market brands entering D2C, talking directly to their consumers, not through the resellers. So I think reseller markets, this is a history of Allegro. Mm-hmm. And the strongest entries we see so far, for example, from Germany, hence Electronic Star. But secondary, we see more and more D2C brands joining Allegro saying, okay, we want to market this directly to our consumer. We want to control the flow of information. We want to control the customer experience and the post-purchase processes. And we also provide for those as well, especially with our commerce team involvement and vertical team, which is dedicated for the categories here.
Mm-hmm. Talking about
I hope it answers. I hope I didn't convolute it too much.
Yeah, following up on that, and talking about the relationships between resellers and brands themselves on your platform. What's your policy there? So, because we know that from other platforms that brands are starting out to enter the marketplaces themselves because they want to have control over what the resellers there are doing, talking about media. So, what is your policy there?
That's a great one. And fortunately, I'm part of Trust Initiative in Allegro, so I can talk a little bit more about this one. So first of all, definitely, it's an important part for the brands to understand what is happening with, especially their content, because online it's all about intellectual property and content. And here we have a whole dedicated team that is in contact with our brands. If the brands reach out to us, and help us, moderate the proper usage of intellectual property. Is it the description or the render and the photos of the products shown in the background? So that's the first thing where we have a lot of cooperation with more than 1,000 brands right now, reaching out almost on a daily basis, trying to ask, hey, where this merchant has this photo from, et cetera, et cetera. So this is stuff that's already working, but we have much more in the process, and it's not really about helping brands control anything, because we are all for the free market and competition, especially on the price and the value proposition for the consumer, but it is for the consumer to feel safe shopping at Allegro. And I think this is the greatest place where we can work together with brands.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Good. So we talked a bit about the marketplace itself and the retailer opportunities there. So let's dig a bit more into how it works if selling partners really want to work with you. So how does the onboarding process itself work for sellers and for brands?
Yeah. So first of all, we have a free-for-all onboarding, which we are aiming to make it a country agnostic. So doesn't matter where you're coming from. We want the experience to be seamless, and we talk about seamless onboarding a lot internally. So once merchant makes a decision, and from experience of my team, especially for the biggest brands, this is the process that is taking the most time. Mm-hmm. Making decision that you want to enter the market. And I think Ingrid and you, Valerie, you mentioned the super important parts, like how my content will be used. What are the licenses and agreement? Do I have distribution in this country, which I don't know about, which is you would be amazed, a pretty frequent question. And last but not least, of course, the customer service and the language and the cultural barrier, if there is any, especially if the brands are coming from the Far East, for example. But also from Germany, being only a few hundred kilometers away, there can be stark differences. For example, Polish consumers expect 1 to 2 day delivery, and this is usually something that brands kind of ask a lot about. I know in Germany that the delivery times can be a little bit extended, and this is, I think, the advantage of the Polish last mile infrastructure that is coming in. But once the brand and or the merchant make the decision, there is an onboarding process. Valerie, you had a question.
Yeah, that's true. So I don't need a brand approval if I want to sell on an Allegro, right? I can just like register myself and sell like immediately.
Yes. There are some limitation on the what we call brands to protect. So those are the brands that are usually more premium brands that in the past we were frequently having issues with the content and intellectual property. So on those brands, we put limitation that they have to be sold from within European Union. And that's something that help us to work with authorities on the proper supply and preventing counterfeit sales. So that's an important part. But you don't need agreement if you're a merchant registered in Europe, selling from Europe. You don't need a brand agreement because this would be selective distribution, and selective distribution is something that is highly controlled by Polish and an overall European antitrust law.
Yeah. Interesting.
If I want to sell now, I mean, I need to calculate if the business case is matching to my goals, right? I mean, we all want to make turnover, and then we all also want to make profitability. So let's talk about the fees and the setup. I need to calculate if I want to sell on Allegro. What is your average commission? How are also average return rates? Maybe you can give us some examples for categories. And which other services do you have, for example, for fulfillment? Because fulfillment is often crashing a business case or not, especially. I mean, I always come from this fashion point of view. I know, for example, consumer electronics has a overall a complete different setup in terms of return rates. But can you give us like an impact, like what do I need to calculate in if I want to sell on the marketplace?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And this is where we still have work to be done. Overall, as Allegro, in terms of communicating the what we call take rate, so our provision and the structure of our overall pricing, including all the value-added services. There was a huge work done already. We simplified the number of commissions by categories. I think we cut them in total by 50%, but on this one, I don't have the data on hand. So it's between 2% and 10-12% depending on the category. So this is what you have to do. And the question would be, Ingrid, Valerie, you have right now, like, okay, but I want to check my product on our website, and I can provide a link for you to have it in the show notes. You can have a calculator open, just input your product. What is the category? It is translated to English. So you can check it there and see, okay, I'm selling, for example, coffee machine. That's around 2 to 3%, depending if it's automated or manual of the commission. So those are the numbers you can easily find and adjust your business case. And this is something I always even push brands to do with our team here. So, hey, let's talk about how much it will cost you to sell on Allegro. And it's super important because it's pay as you go. So 95% of cases, we don't have the listing fee. There are a few examples, which are usually the used products like antiques, for example. We also sell antiques on Allegro. Rembrandt, not yet, but you can find famous Polish and Central European painters, also Germans, last I checked. But overall, there is no listing fee, and you pay as you go. So once the sale is committed, this is where the commission is being deducted from the sale, and you're receiving your net income coming from this one. I heard the chicken in the background.
Could be, yeah.
Not
Welcome
here.
to Thailand. No monkeys yet.
So super important thing about Allegro, we do not allow to sell livestock on Allegro. And we want to push this message very strongly. We believe in fair treatment of all animals and human beings as well. So that's a thing.
Okay.
But going forward, the commission is pretty static and easy to find out. Then we are going to promotion tools, which are advertising. We have a very developed platform where there is also a typical PPC and involvement into external and internal keyword buying, but also more complex tools like show item, like promoting on the front page. I think we have a great self-service here, but also we have a team dedicated to help, including a lot of education materials. We are one of the biggest, if not the biggest, marketing purchaser on Polish media. So promoting yourself on Allegro is participating in this process as well. So this would be two legs before using fulfillment: the basic commission and the promotion and advertising tools that you're paying. Then we have the delivery, which is a little bit uncommon system on Allegro, which is the co-finance. We have something called Smart, which is the free delivery scheme on subscription, which is the biggest, biggest loyalty program in Poland. And it's very favored by our consumers. So they prefer to receive something with free shipping. The orders above €10 are shipped with Smart, depending on the delivery method. So is it courier or the parcel locker or the parcel shop? The merchant is paying a co-finance. It's up to, as far as I know, it's starting from 249 Polish zloty. So I would say 70 euro cents, and finishing at 6.99, so €1.50 for a shipment. And this is for the whole package, not per item, depending on the value of the package and the method used by the consumer.
So
this is the logistic part.
Just to clear that up, it's possible for a retailer or brand to give his her products to you, to your delivery centers, and Allegro does the whole logistics for the retailer or the brand, correct?
Exactly. And that's the fulfillment center that is also closely working with my team. And this is something that we introduced 2 years ago. We just had a second birthday on the 24th of January. And this is same and next day delivery focused picking and fulfilling center near Warsaw, also covering Czechia. So this is, I think, a great entry point for merchants using Allegro. And it provides a great customer service as well. So we see really high praise coming for the consumers and low fuss coming from the merchants in terms of how much work they have to put into, shipping on time, giving money back for the returns, etc., etc. And I would say that's the fourth leg of Allegro. And I want to underline one thing here: we are the 3P marketplace. So there is no kind of leverage. You have to use fulfillment, or you don't have to use fulfillment. We very much support merchants where they can see fit. What I can highly recommend is, if you are entering Polish market, the fulfillment method is taking a lot of fuss from you in terms of customer experience, in terms of shipping, in terms of fulfilling this need of consumer of receiving the stuff the same day or next day.
So how many of your merchants are using the fulfillment service?
So we are closing to 1,000 merchants using fulfillment. So this is a number that we are aiming for. And fun fact is, it's majority merchants coming from outside of Poland.
Yeah, well.
So it's not that popular with Polish merchants, because for last 25 years they build the infrastructure around Allegro. And usually they tell us, yeah, we have our warehouse and we are pretty much optimized for you guys. But the merchants coming from outside feel it's welcome. And this is super easy to calculate the pricing. We have a fixed price per liter kind of a price list. And we also received the praise from, last it was from Spain, as far as I remember. One merchant said, you should promote this as your added value, how simple it is to calculate pricing of fulfillment.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel that, because calculating fulfillment is such a pain sometimes. Everyone is like, oh, we take liters. Oh, we take square meters. Oh, we take, I don't know what. Yeah. So, yeah, I truly get that.
We have a KPI on how many touch points you need to calculate your fulfillment cost. And we are actually, every time we are considering any changes, any new value-added services, we are working against this KPI, saying, hey, we don't want to add yet another pay rate, yet another multiplier or something like that.
Okay.
So I have one question again in terms of return rates. How are the Polish customers habit of their return rate? Because I know, German customers are heavy returners. It's like really crazy. How is it in Poland?
So we don't see anything above normal in last years. So the return rate is pretty flattish. The lowest return rate I've seen in the cases, and this is again a fulfillment merchant, a kind of a bigger health and beauty brand we talked last time, was 0.8% after 6 months of test. That would say on the low end. And of course, you can hit categories that are multi-return. Probably fashion would be the heaviest, but still we try to float below market on this one. The returns on Allegro, especially with Smart, are free, so consumer can use it, but we see there is a lot of confidence in the product, so well measured and bought product usually don't yield that high of returns. But I would say ask for the given category when you're joining Allegro. We can provide more numbers, but I wouldn't say it's what you expect, a little bit lower than Germany from what we see.
Mm-hmm. And do you have a average number for fashion?
I would have to check. I'm not ready with this answer right now, but we can check what we can provide in the show numbers. I don't want to shoot from my hip.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no worries. Okay. There was like a very spontaneous question because I'm like the fashion part here.
I absolutely get it. Sorry, I have health and beauty and home appliances because we were getting through the case with the board of directors of the two other companies lately.
Oh yeah. And do you want to share this?
That was the part. So 0.9% was for health and beauty, and 3% was for the consumer electronics.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Sorry, home appliances. Consumer electronics is a wider category for us.
Okay. Right. Talking about calculation and return rates and stuff, one of the main things that I hear about Allegro from Western European retailers is that's a cheap marketplace. So this is a marketplace where I can only place products that are in a lower price range, or I would have to go really low with my prices in order to just actually get a sale there. So maybe you can talk a bit about this. Is that true?
So I think it's not only about marketplace per se, but overall Poland is a fairly cheap country. And everything we talked about, end of communism, a low saving rate, and fairly weak currency generated a 38 million plus consumers market. And same in overall Central Europe. So let's say 90 million plus consumer market, which spends a lot of money. So automatically the prices very fast went very low. Yep. So it's not only a marketplace, it's kind of a competitiveness of overall Polish market and retail in Central Europe overall. And I talk a lot about Polish examples, but they're more or less, especially in terms of pricing, speed of delivery, very much applicable across Czechia as well, and soon Slovakia and Hungary. I think if you're comparing the products that are already available on Allegro, you have to be ready for competitive play. That's true. If you can provide new brand, a variants that are not available in Poland, this is the strength for international sellers. So we are very much after brands that are not yet penetrated in Polish and Central European market. So something that is popular in Czech, it will sell in Poland probably if we find a good way to market it to the consumer. And of course, the content is well produced and the merchant is willing to invest into this relationship and expansion. So every time we see a brand, a merchant willing to be on purpose in Poland, in Central Europe overall, we see they're usually succeeding. If it's only reselling the stuff that is already available, this will be a tough play for the merchant. It will be a harder competition. But even within the brands available, if you find your niche, a product that is a very specific version of laundry detergent for France, though the brand is well known in Poland already, it can be a niche for you. And actually, from Germany to Poland, one of the most important products is actually laundry detergent. And I worked for 9 years in this business. And importing laundry detergent is very popular among Polish consumers because we believe, consumers believe that laundry detergent from Germany is a higher quality than a Polish laundry detergent. And actually, they're willing to pay a little bit more for that. So I think there is a lot of research to be done. Reselling stuff that is available, probably tough. But selling stuff that is new to the market, that's something that is not available yet. There is a huge consumer base for everything, basically.
Interesting. Right. So yeah, a lot of research going into the right categories to go for, or the right product niches, as you say, where you might get away with Western European prices as well. Interesting. Right. Our time is running up fast, but maybe, Valerie, anything else that you would like to ask before we close the episode?
Well, I would like to ask, because we have like a special episode today, right? What we could offer you as our listeners is a special link where you can register on to be a seller on Allegro. And maybe, Mateusz, you can share what benefits our listeners get if they register via this link.
So first of all, especially for today, for our listeners, we provide something we call priority onboarding. So feel free to use the link. Everybody who will register through this one will get through the process that is specially streamlined for international customers. And it's prepared to be a little bit faster, a little bit less hassle. And we actually improved on it significantly in terms of number of documents, not need for translation. So that would be easier starting point. Second of all, we provide almost no commission first month. We call it welcome pack. It's available for our new merchant, and we subsidize it heavily. So it's a great offering. We have the same similar welcome pack available for fulfillment. So those are the special things you can count on in terms of your bottom line improvement for the start. The top line improvement, we can assure you that our service provider network, marketing agencies, logistic companies, they will help you get the best from the Polish market and, introduce you fast into the Allegro and Polish consumer environment.
Sounds quite interesting, and sounds also that testing out this market could be I would say, like an easy way, and also a less expensive way to say, like, okay, hey, you know what? It's like there's almost no risk in like testing out Allegro as a marketplace, and let's see how does it work. You made it really easy to enter, a good offer in the beginning, and overall you also have like a lot of like new features, etc., right? So we will definitely share this link in our show notes everywhere, and also on LinkedIn, so that you are able to put this, and there's also no time limit or deadline about this link, which is, I think, really, really nice.
Yeah.
Super. Feel free. And I can add from myself one more thing. Without providing any documents to us, so any registration documents, going through the KYC AML, because we are working with the partners that are verified by banks and the service providers, you can access Allegro Analytics, which can help you. Ingrid, you mentioned finding a niche. We have a very developed tools to find those as well. They're available in English as well. But also, if you want to be purely speaking German, I can assure you the translation by the available tools will be spot on in terms of understanding what's happening in there.
Okay. Right. So, Mateusz, thank you for joining us today and giving more insights in the Polish market and selling on Allegro. That was quite enlightening. So I hope for you too, our dear listeners, I hope you could take some information from the episode, maybe for your own business. If you want to support us, go ahead and rate us on your preferred app where you listen to us. We're always looking forward to your stars. 5, please. What else? Anyway, so this supports us a lot.
Yeah,
so
because
thanks for listening today.
there is a reason. Thank you as well from me. And there was a recent point why I put this into our comments of like, please rate us with your star rating, because we recently got some like bad ratings because we changed to English partially. And please support us, dear listeners, in like following us, in rating us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Amazon or wherever you hear us. This is like your gift to us. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
To make this possible for you. Yeah.
Right. And our gift,
Mateusz.
Yeah, and our gift to you is that you can, from March, you can listen to us weekly. So every 2 weeks it's going to be English, and every 2 weeks it's going to be German. Right. Okay. So thanks, Mateusz, for joining us today. Thanks for listening, and we hear each other in 2 weeks' time.
You listen to Let's Talk Marketplace,
the Marketplace podcast with Ingrid Lommer and Valerie Dichtel.